Toyota just sold 4.7 million cars in only 6 months, a number so large it almost feels unreal when you pause and think about it. That is not a yearly figure. That is not a decade-long average. That is just the first half of 2025. At the same time, a Chinese electric car brand quietly crossed the 2 million mark and is now breathing down Ford's neck, with industry experts openly predicting that it could overtake one of America's most iconic automakers before this year even ends. These numbers are not rumors or speculation. They come straight from Visual Capitalist, based on verified global sales data. And once you understand what these numbers really mean, you'll see why the future of the car industry may not look the way most people expect. If you care about where the auto world is heading, stay with me till the end and make sure to subscribe because we break down the real stories behind the numbers. In the first half of 2025, Toyota once again proved why it continues to sit at the very top of the global automotive hierarchy. With 4,725,616 vehicles sold worldwide and a year-over-year growth of 6%, Toyota didn't just lead the market, it dominated it. The scale of that dominance becomes clearer when you compare it to the rest of the field. Most competitors are not even close. Toyota sold more than double the volume of many major brands, reinforcing a truth that often gets overlooked in conversations about disruption and electrification. Scale still matters. A lot. Toyota's strength comes from decades of building a broad, reliable lineup that works in very different markets, from North America to Asia. While others focus on niche segments or single technologies, Toyota continues to sell cars that millions of people already trust, and that trust translates directly into volume. What makes Toyota's position even more striking is that it has managed to grow while the industry undergoes one of the most dramatic transitions in its history. Electrification is reshaping priorities, supply chains remain complex, and consumer expectations are shifting fast. Yet Toyota's global production footprint and diversified portfolio allow it to absorb these shocks better than most. This is not explosive growth, but it is resilient growth, the kind that keeps a brand on top while others scramble to adapt. Volkswagen sits in second place with 2,320,300 vehicles sold and a 5% growth rate, a respectable performance that shows the German giant still has global reach. But even here, the gap is telling. Toyota's lead is not marginal, it is massive. Volkswagen's numbers confirm strength, yet they also underline just how far ahead Toyota really is. The same pattern appears with Ford, which ranked third with 2,075,500 units, but posted a slight decline of 1%. Ford is still a heavyweight, still selling millions of vehicles worldwide, but the direction of travel matters. Flat or negative growth in a rapidly changing market raises questions about future positioning. And this is where the story takes a sharp turn. BYD, a Chinese automaker that many consumers outside Asia barely knew a decade ago, ranked fourth globally with 2,004,442 vehicles sold. On paper, that places it just behind Ford, but the real shock lies in the growth figure, 31% year over year. That kind of growth is not normal at this scale. It is extraordinary. It means BYD is not just expanding, it is accelerating. Industry experts now openly expect BYD to surpass Ford by the end of 2025 if this trajectory continues, a prediction that would have sounded absurd not long ago. BYD's rise reflects more than just one company's success. It mirrors the broader momentum of Chinese electric vehicle sector and the country's increasing influence on global automotive markets. BYD is growing rapidly at home, but it is also pushing outward, expanding into Europe and Latin America with aggressive intent. This is not a brand content to dominate one region. It wants to compete everywhere, and the numbers suggest it's doing exactly that. Just behind BYD, Hyundai ranked 5th with 1,956,774 units sold and a modest 1% growth, followed by Honda at 6th with 1,661,200 units, but a worrying 7% decline. Suzuki and Nissan followed closely, both selling around 1.6 million vehicles, yet both posting negative growth as well. These figures highlight a deeper tension facing several Japanese brands. While they remain powerful names with loyal customer bases, declining growth suggests pressure from new competitors, changing consumer preferences, and the accelerating shift toward electric mobility. Kia and Chevrolet offered small signs of stability, ranking 9th and 10th respectively, each posting around 2% growth. These are not dramatic gains, but in a market where many legacy brands are slipping backward, even modest growth signals resilience. Still, it is clear that stability alone may not be enough in a market increasingly defined by speed and innovation. The lower half of the top 15 tells an even more revealing story. BMW sold 1,070,814 vehicles but declined by 2%. Mercedes fell to 999,974 units with a 6% drop, while Audi closed at 783,531 units, also down 6%. Renault managed slight growth, but the broader picture for European brands, especially in the luxury segment, is one of softening demand and shrinking share. These brands still command prestige, but prestige alone is no longer a guarantee of growth. Consumers are weighing value, technology, and future readiness more heavily than ever before. Then there's Geely, ranked 12th with 992,616 units sold. At first glance, it might seem less impressive, but its growth rate changes everything. At 59% year over year, Geely posted the fastest growth among all major brands on the list. That figure alone reframes its position. While it has not yet crossed the 1 million mark, its trajectory suggests a brand moving upward at a speed that could quickly rewrite its rank. Growth at this scale signals ambition, adaptability, and alignment with where the market is heading. When you step back and look at the full picture, a pattern emerges. The global car market in H1 2025 is not collapsing, but it is clearly redistributing power. Toyota remains the anchor, stable, massive, and globally entrenched. Volkswagen and Ford remain strong, but their margins of safety are narrowing. Meanwhile, fast-growing Asian manufacturers, especially Chinese brands like BYD and Geely, are injecting momentum into the market at a pace legacy automakers are struggling to match. This shift doesn't mean tradition is irrelevant. Toyota's continued dominance proves that experience, scale, and trust still matter deeply. But it does suggest that momentum may now matter just as much. Growth rates tell a story that raw rankings cannot. A brand growing at 30 or 50% is shaping the future faster than a brand selling millions but slowly losing ground. What makes this moment especially significant is that it reflects a broader transformation in how cars are designed, built, and perceived. Electric vehicles are no longer a niche experiment. They are central to growth strategies, especially for Chinese manufacturers. Meanwhile, legacy brands are forced to defend their positions while retooling massive operations, a challenge that is easier said than done. The numbers from H1 2025 show an industry caught between stability and disruption. Toyota's crown remains firmly in place, but challengers are no longer hypothetical. They are here, they are growing, and they are already reshaping global rankings. For consumers, investors, and policymakers alike, these figures are more than historical data. They are a snapshot of a market in motion, where today's leaders must adapt continuously, and where tomorrow's giants are already gaining speed.